Eskom has been thrown a lifeline yet again, this time to the tune of 69 billion rand over the next 3 years.
Well, the power utility will get the cash injection over the next 3 years to help service its debt and free up cash for operations.
Finance Minister Tito Mboweni made the announcement during his budget speech in Parliament yesterday.
Well, our colleague Aviwe Mtila joining us now from Eskom's Megawatt Park in Sandton. Aviwe, a very good morning to you once again. And I suppose the unions and the worker unions will be watching the use of this money very closely, also making sure that we don't see any more job cuts in the sector if they have anything to say about that.
Certainly they will, Yuveka. I'll be joined just in a short while by Solidarity, its Deputy General Secretary there, just to delve into those very issues. But of course, debt is a thorn on the side of the power utility. 420 billion in debt, around 34 billion debt from owed by municipalities and Soweto. Soweto alone owns about 17 billion and it pays directly to Eskom. They're saying that they will not pay that debt. So it is a sticky issue for Eskom, which government, of course, will eventually have to take on, which will also put the country's credit rating into disarray. But let's take a look at an insert I did just on that debt.
We will never pay Eskom.
Lerato Mokgapi is the Secretary General of the Soweto Action Committee, an organization formed by the community to address concerns around Eskom. As it stands, township residents owe the power utility around 17 billion rand in unpaid electricity bills. That's the same amount owed to the parastatal by close to 60 municipalities. In the top 5 defaulting municipalities, 3 are from the Free State with a combined debt of over 6 billion rand. Soweto residents are simply shrugging their shoulders.
How are we going to pay it with the unemployment rate that we are currently facing within the society? Hence, we are saying we are not going to pay it, but let's talk around conventional, which that was the third option that we gave to them. They told us about prepaid, but we said no, conventional, because honestly speaking, it should have been free electricity for all.
Experts say if defaulters don't pay, it could prove catastrophic for Eskom and its credit rating.
It could mean that government will have to step in and take over the servicing of Eskom's 420 billion rand debt. It could affect the country's credit rating if that were to happen.
With the possibility of Soweto and defaulting municipalities paying up waning, can Eskom afford to write off the debt?
Well, they certainly can't afford to write it off, but they're going to have to write it off. If you can't collect it, you have to write it off in due course.
Eskom has 420 billion rands worth of debt. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni has allocated the state-owned enterprise 69 billion rand over the next 3 years. Aviwe Mtila, Johannesburg.
Well, you heard it yourself, 34 billion owed to Eskom, either by municipalities or Sowetan electricity bills, and we heard they're refusing to pay, simply put out, so which means it can be a burden to our credit rating. But for now, I'm joined by Solidarity's Deputy Secretary General Dion Heineke, just to talk about the 23 billion per year that Eskom will be receiving. Dion, thank you for joining us. 23 billion, we heard that it could be over a period of 10 years from experts. Is it enough?
Well, from Solidarity's side, we don't believe it is enough. You know, Solidarity members as well as taxpayers are tired for taxpayers to pay for corrupt and mismanagement state entities. So we don't believe it will be enough. Eskom needs 420 billion to save them. The current 23 billion that was offered by the minister yesterday will only cover the operational cost. So we don't believe it will be enough to save Eskom in total. There's more work that needs to be done. We would like to see that the minister said, listen, we will give you this money, but we need a return on this investment. We need something like stop load shedding. What are we going to do about the maintenance? What are we going to do about corruption? You know, top management left the company. We've got a new management team at Eskom. What happened to those people? Nothing happened. So there's more than the 23 billion needed to save Eskom.
Now, we heard that, of course, there are plans to unbundle, which will be in effect soon enough, to unbundle the company into 3 entities. And now, there's fears, even though government has said that they won't privatize, there are fears of privatization within that and job losses. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, we believe that unbundling don't necessarily lead to privatization. But I think we are far ahead of talking about privatization. We are in a crisis mode, and Eskom need to be saved. And during this crisis mode, we have to look at what Eskom needs. We need skills. We need people that can save Eskom. We need the skills audit. And to retrench or get rid of people at this stage is premature. Eskom needs to look into itself. I don't believe the people working for Eskom are too much at this stage. What we need is skilled people in Eskom. So privatization is a discussion for later on. In this crisis mode that we are currently in, we need to go around talks to save Eskom and not talk about privatization. We believe that is a discussion in itself for another time.
Now, we've seen spates of load shedding. Some saying it's the week that we had is one of the worst spates of load shedding we've had in the history. Now, have you actually been in communication with Eskom? Because we're finding difficulty as media to talk to Eskom. Are they talking to you about the load shedding and when we can possibly see an end to it?
Well, unfortunately, Eskom also don't talk to the trade unions. Several meetings that were set up by the end of last year were cancelled. There is a meeting scheduled for next week, Tuesday, that we hope they will honour and that we can discuss the issues around load shedding, around the whole unbundling. What are the plans that they have? We don't have any information. Unfortunately, Eskom are silent on these issues, and we hope that Eskom will come to the table and talk to us.
As Dion Reyneke, the Deputy Secretary General of Solidarity, saying that they're not having any luck either in talking to Eskom. They'll be meeting, of course, with the power utility on Tuesday to delve into some of their issues. We hope, as the media, will also receive a media briefing from Eskom just to understand their plans going forward. Back to you in studio.